انسانیت اهل بشریت. Thanks a lot. Just have to connect it to Facebook, then you will go live stream and do interview with the okay, here is let me connect it to page. I hope it's connected fast, actually. Okay, here we go. Good morning to United States people, and good afternoon to Kabul and United Kingdom citizens. Today we have an interview with the Dr. Sara regarding Afghans who work on behalf of NATO or coalition forces in Afghanistan. And also we will talk about recent letter which a few organizations sent it to the NATO and President White House office, how we can evacuate Afghan who work on behalf of United States government and NATO in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, today two incidents happened, but thanks God, one of Afghan journalists, Ariana Afghan journalist, saved a life, got saved, he saved from the insurgents attack. But unfortunately, we lost Afghan female journalist, which she was also working with the Ariana News channel in Afghanistan. The insurgents are attacking Afghan media and the people who work on behalf of United States government in daily basis. If we go through to the 20 years history, whatever projects developed in Afghanistan, it's all funded by European Commission, United Nations, and United States in Afghanistan. If we go through to the media, if we go through to the women rights, if we go through to the people who work on behalf of international community in Afghanistan, all funded by European Commission, United Nations, and United States. We cannot say that just the life of the linguists in Afghanistan are in danger. No, anyone who works with the United States government or NATO or United Nations or European Commission in Afghanistan, their life are dangerous. We have 100 days short time. Like that time, it's impossible to evacuate that thousand people who work on behalf of international community in Afghanistan. We have to find out the best solution for that, to evacuate them a secure place and as soon as possible. The reason which I'm running this show is because I am also SIV. I have been in Afghanistan for 14 years and working in battlefield. And I have a much experience than people who are working for 6 months and come back as a rotation. So I know what's going on. I know all the clues. Our people's life are in danger. The people who work at the secret services in Afghanistan, their life are in danger. The media who are funded by international community, the journalist people's life are in danger. The linguists who served years with our coalition forces in Afghanistan, and they become our eyes and ears, and they become our tongue, and they become our soul and feel. Without them, we was nothing. Their life are in danger. Thanks a lot for from No One Left Behind, Warrior Times, and all non-profit organizations who are working so hard to do public awareness. Okay, I'm really getting few calls. Today we are not receiving a call. Today we are doing an interview of Sara and one Afghan journalist and tell us the truth what's going on. The problem is we have to do something. The No One Left Behind and other nonprofit organizations are working so hard. Every day they're contacting politicians and they are fighting for you guys. They are fighting on behalf of you guys. How to save your life. I know the time is so short, 100 days. It's impossible to do it and evacuate and secure place all people who work on behalf of the international community in Afghanistan. But we have to find out the solution, the best way, how to do it. Which place is secure and which place is nearby Afghanistan, which people can save their life and go over there. That's why, especially me, as a freelance journalist and public awareness officer, we can call, and other nonprofit organizations, American and European organizations, are working so hard to do public awareness about you guys. I know you guys are getting disappointed. No one is talking about us. The people who has blacklist or who are and watch list who are terminated, they're doing complain. Nobody's talking about us. But we should not get disappointed. There are many people, great people are here who are fighting for you guys. Okay, Dr. Sara is here too. Hi, doctor. Can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you fine. Long time no see.
It's my honor to have you on my show. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I think we first meet in 2017, right?
That's right.
You came to Sacramento doing research about SAVs.
Exactly. Was it as I think it must, yeah, 2017 or 18 or something. It's a long
Yeah,
time ago.
yep. So how are we doing? How was things are going on in the UK, and especially about your research, what happened and what things we got from it?
Yeah, I think some of your listeners might already have seen a lot has been happening in the UK recently. So, Navid, I don't know if you have seen this. We have set up an organization called the Sula Alliance, which is an organization a little bit like something like No One Left Behind or IRAP, an organization with veterans and me as a researcher to support interpreters and other locally engaged staff who have worked for the British Army. And we are lobbying the government, we're engaging with the media, we are writing legal testimonies in case people are applying for asylum and they get rejected. So we've been working on that. So that's Sula Alliance. You can check us out online as well.
So solar lines are just created in the UK by British citizens or created by nice state non-profit organization and British?
No, it is by British. It's a British organization. But we have partners in other countries. So we're partnering with Arab, we're partnering with No One Left Behind, we're partnering with Veterans for American Ideals. So again, maybe you've seen that last Tuesday on the 1st of June, we issued a collective statement, a collective letter, which was signed by many other organizations, which was addressed to the NATO Secretary General, which was also addressed to the heads of state and heads of government of the US, of Canada, Australia, UK, France, Germany, to ask for a unified approach in protecting locally engaged civilians.
So what do you think? Because we have 100 days and 11 September is coming soon, and there's 1,000 people who work on behalf of NATO and United States government in Afghanistan. We are not just talking about the linguist people. We are talking the people who work uh, as a people to do research for them, the intel civilian research for them, the people who work with their non-profit organizations. Just recently today, we lost one Afghan journalist, which she was working with Ariana News, and her mom, and she got killed, and her sister got injured. And after a few hours, our intel information came out. Bajan Ariana Afghan news channel journalist, the insurgents tried to kill him, but thanks God he's safe and he escaped from the scene. So how we can bring all that community people, language people in one chart and evacuate them, because NATO should do something. And what do you think? What NATO should do? Like we cannot take them, we cannot get them all once in the UK. We cannot bring them overnight to the United States. What is alternative way to save their life,
Yeah,
on your
no,
opinion?
very important and difficult questions. So the statement that we put out on the 1st of June was exactly because of what you're saying. Only 100 days left, and probably we have even less than 100 days left, because Germany is thinking about withdrawing earlier, the US is trying to withdraw earlier. The second point you raise is really important. There is, in some countries, only a focus on interpreters, and they're forgetting about other people who are locally engaged civilian staff who are part of the wider Western, mission and intervention in Afghanistan. I mean, I think the US has been relatively good in also extending the scheme to include people who are not just interpreters, but who have been working for USAID, for instance, right, or working as journalists. The UK hasn't been that good, but things are improving a little bit. We have seen some security guards, for instance, being brought over more recently. But still, as you said, we have people working for embassies. We have people working in international development as contractors for international development projects. And I'm worried that in some countries, there's only a focus on interpreters, and those other people are not even included in the schemes. Now, the question of how are we going to do this so quickly is really difficult, because you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, Afghanistan is going into a COVID lockdown again right now as well, right? 2 weeks of
Yep.
which brings additional challenges for people who do not have a passport yet.
Yeah.
So people who need to request a passport, normally it takes maybe 2 weeks, but now, COVID lockdown, it might take 1 month in total, or even
Yep.
more.
Yep. One of my former employee, which is active on the field right now. He's a reporter. He applied 2 weeks ago for a passport. Up to now, he was not able to get a passport, and also his life is under danger. And his case got rejected by unknown reason, because you don't have a recommendation letter, which we are dealing with the government. Said, why recommendation letter? So how the procedure of British government is working, how people can apply for a special visa or asylum visa for British government. Any idea?
So at the moment, the way it's working is that it's called the Afghan Relocations and Assistance Policy. So we normally call it ARAP. ARAP is like your SFE is our ARAP program.
Yeah.
What is good, I think, about it is that it doesn't ask for things like recommendation letters, all of that. They don't do it all. They just ask people very simple questions, like what was your labor support unit number? Like what was the number that you were registered for as a worker? When did you work? Why did you leave your job? Where did you work? Pretty much only those very basic questions. And then they just match the profile of the person who is applying to their own list of employees. So that goes much quicker than the US system, where you have to have recommendation letters, etc., etc., etc. Because as we know, many of the American contractors might be bankrupt and not exist anymore. People cannot find their supervisors, etc. Now, after that, people get a relocation offer from the UK if they are successful. And they are successful if they've been working in any exposed role, for the embassy, in development, for the military. And if they haven't been terminated, blacklisted, for any big reason, they will get a relocation offer. This goes at the moment really relatively fast, can be within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they get a relocation offer. But from that moment onwards, of course, they are asked to provide first a digital copy of all their documents, passports, birth certificate, etc. And then they have to come for one appointment to the Kabul embassy as well for biometric passports. And then similar to the US, the IOM is organizing the flights. I think the fact that people at least get a decision on their case within a few weeks is very positive. Because people can prepare for a new future, can say goodbye to their families, can sell their furniture, can try and get a passport. But whether it will be quick enough to get those people out, it's still a question, because as we were saying, to get a passport is more difficult at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, but it is, and especially now as electronic ID, Afghan ID Tazkara would take months to get it. But what do you think if
so
someone...
do you think at the moment that the Tazkara it's taking months to get it?
Yeah, one of my other guy, it's almost like 3 weeks. He's waiting for Tazkara. And the problem is when they're going to digitizing the written that bulk to the computer, some people are not adding their last name on their name because in Afghanistan we didn't. After 1992, that culture gone to have a last name. But when the UK, when the Indonesian community came Afghanistan, so we add the last name again into our names. So now the people like, my name is Naweed, my last name is not in Tazkara. So when I try to add my name, Naweed Yusufi, they will say, oh, Naweed and father name already have a Tazkara. Who is that Yusufi? So you have to get a paper, a statement, go to your district, go to police station, and it's all like a big challenge to process it. And you know what this corruption is over there, and a big corruption. So you have to pay something to do something. Yeah, that's all the thing. But on your opinion, what do you see the future of the people who cannot be able to evacuate in a secure place, especially women?
I think that's a very difficult question. I mean, I think nobody knows the answer about the future of Afghanistan, to be very honest. I mean, do you know the future of Afghanistan? I mean,
actually, as a army freelance journalist and researcher, which I did research for 14 years in Afghanistan, we knew about this days coming, but we not expected this kind of happening on 2021. We was getting ready for 2025. Like when I was in Afghanistan, I met a lot of senators, a lot of intel people, a lot of researchers, professors, and PhD people. And all of them were saying that Naweed, the day will be arrived, everyone will be left Afghan behind. We said, but the new generation going to run the government. But unfortunately, the time's not catch to wait for the new generation to go over there. But now your concern is not just language. It's like more than 1,000 people, and especially the women. Some of the women, last week I got a call from India, the business woman. She was working with non-profit development international community directly as a contractor with an angel. She couldn't back Afghanistan because her life is in danger.
Safe, yeah, exactly. I think like you said, I think the problem is that the announcement of this withdrawal has not been made with the interest of the Afghan people at heart or the interest of the Afghan nation. The announcement and the decision about the withdrawal has been made with the interest of the NATO countries at heart. And they say unified in withdrawing together, but they exclude their local workers from the idea of unity, because they should be unified with those local workers as well, but they are not unified with those local workers. If this would be done with the interest of the Afghan people at heart, it wouldn't have gone so quickly, it wouldn't come so soon. But now it is only with the interest of the Western nations that this withdrawal is running in the way it does.
So what do you think what the British citizens are talking about? What your students are talking about? What's their opinion about it?
I
Because
mean,
you know that it's not the first time we were in Afghanistan. We was in Afghanistan from 1965 up to 1992. We have a British citizens family in Afghanistan. We had an American citizen family in Afghanistan, and Helmand Province, which we was calling it a small American, a small Europe, and call it small Europe. So now the all new generation are thinking that, oh, we win Afghanistan for first time and we are running. Actually, UK and United States was involved in Afghanistan since 1975 when they funded Mujahideen people to fight against Russia in Afghanistan. So we are not just involved for 20 years. We are involved for 45 years in Afghanistan. So now what the your students and the British citizens' opinion about
so my students are young, right? And they are not aware of that long history in Afghanistan. I mean, my students, they're born after 9/11. You know, so they, I think they're critical of the war because they know, but they don't know anything else. You know, they were born after 9/11 and they just are used to the idea that there's something going on in Afghanistan and they don't quite know what's going on. I think if you talk about the British public, I think the one positive thing is that people have very strong support for former Afghan staff, whether they're on the left wing of the political spectrum or on the right wing. There's a very strong sense that there's a moral duty of Britain to take care of those people. But when it comes to the real practical issues and problems that we're raising, you know, how are we going to get people out on time? I don't think people realize what a challenge this is going to be at all.
it. Yep. So, on your opinion, which country is secure and faster to evacuate these people? Afghan neighbor countries, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, or to Middle East?
I think it's difficult to make a general statement because it depends also for every nation state what capacity they have and what links they have in the region, you know, which other countries they can rely on to do this on time. I think the US has a big problem because, I mean, you have 18,000 people who are still waiting for a decision. That is a number that we can just almost not imagine, you know, and like you said, you're not going to get 18,000 people on a plane.
Yep. And according of my research is more than so my research when I did when we met in 2017, I told you my people are still active in the field and we're doing research about each movement in Afghanistan. There are like more than 1,000 non-profit organizations who created on behalf of the international community. There is 1,000 construction and logistic companies. So, for example, 2,000 non-profit organizations, 6 exposed people always in the field. So we have more than 6,000, including their family, like 60,000 or 70,000 people. So how we can, this number is just for language. This number is not for the people who work on the programs. So,
but I think, exactly. I think the problem is that Western nation states are trying to do the minimal thing that gives them the minimal amount of embarrassment and shame. So there needs to be a lot of pressure from civil society to say that people need to be included. But you know what arguments they're going to use? They're going to use arguments such as there shouldn't be a brain drain for Afghanistan. They will say people need to just, I know, I'm not saying I agree with this, right? I'm just saying this is what governments are trying to do. They say we are not going to take responsibility for these people. I mean, one, they are trying to say some countries currently, like Germany, for instance, they are trying to only take responsibility for the people that they employ right now or in the past 2 years. They don't want to take responsibility for any of the people who worked for them at an earlier time because they just say you should have told us earlier that you are at risk. They don't look at all at the escalating security situation. Secondly, we have countries that say we only rescue those people who were directly employed by us. And we know with subcontracting, with working for development organizations, they say it wasn't us, it's those organizations. You know, they need to take care of it. Like I said, thirdly, they will say, we need to keep the best and brightest in the country. We can't all let them come here because it's not good for Afghanistan if all of these people come over. I don't agree with any of those arguments, but I think we're hearing them from different countries.
Yeah, even on 2000, I remember we created a organization by the name of Social Youth Coordination Association to work voluntarily with the international community. They offer us grant. They said we don't need a grant. We had like a 25 team, a special team to do operation anti-corruption and also to advocate about BSA, American Afghanistan security agreement. We work so hard as a volunteer, but unfortunately, one of our guy got killed and our unit got disappeared. And now when they're going to apply for visa, I said, do you have any direct agreement with the government or any international community? Said, we was volunteer. We have the proof of the emails from directors and political officers. Sorry, we cannot do anything. So what do you think on the point of view? If these people are going to lose their life in one day, thousand people, can we call for that as civilian genocide, or the people who work on behalf of the international community got killed? Can we call for that genocide, or the 1,000 people got killed? Or is it our fault, or it's their fault they work with us? Which side's fault is it?
I mean, it's clearly not the fault of the people who worked for Western forces. It's also something where Western states should have learned from history, right? We know from Vietnam, but also we know from Iraq. I mean, very recently as Iraq, we know what happens with staff that we hire. I also think that many of the people who decided to work for the Western Army or Western organizations, many people were very young, 18, 19, 20 years old. They were full of hope that something would change. And they said yes to those jobs with their hope and with their ambition. And I think that hope has been very much, now people feel very disillusioned because the thing that they thought they signed up for is not the thing it turned out to be. I don't know about your personal position, but I've also talked to many people who are regretting that they have worked in the way that they did because, yeah.
Yep. When on the first time when I started working with the government international community in Afghanistan on 2004, so I'm 1986 minus 2004. I was 18 years old when I was running as a logistic manager and logistic assistant of one of the construction company who was subcontractor of US Corps of Engineering. 19 years old. So I had a hope. And whatever mission came in front of me, yes, we are going to make our country better. On 2008, when I joined as a freelance journalist, everyone said that you're going to get killed. Like other people said, no, I'm going to build my country. I have a hope. We run a mission all the time, mission. But once I came to the United States, my eyes got open. I said, sometimes I'm telling to my family, I said, is it my fault? I never ever understand my teenager life. Like when I came to the United States, people said, do you have a girlfriend? Huh? Even I didn't know how to style my hairs. When I did my first haircut, I said, oh, this is my style. Because all that life, I never understand. I was just have one focus, like me, 1,000 other people. Intel operations, civilian operation, evacuation, security people. Like I'm also the victim. So whose fault is it? I saved my life. I came to the United States, but what about the other people?
I know, exactly. And I guess you may feel guilty as well because you feel I'm safe, but indeed, what about these other people?
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to look at the international letter that we, can I share the screen shortly?
Yep, I got a chance, but I got a lot of question about that international letter. First, the people, when I share it with the Afghan citizens, they don't know how to apply for British asylum. There's no special link. They said if you can have a special link. And the other question which I got from the letter, and the people who are not linguists, what should we do? And how NATO can provide a special visa for them, just not UK, because NATO is NATO project. NATO should provide them a special paper to give them, like they can go any country they want to
I mean,
vacation.
so I think the purpose of the letter is first to say it is wrong that there was one united mission, but when it comes to the protection of Afghan civilians, every country does their own thing, and this is wrong. So we sent a letter not just to the Secretary General, but also to the heads of states so that they realize that it is wrong. Some people have worked for, if you've worked for 1.5 years for the US and 1 year for Germany, you might in the end not be able to go to any of the places. Navid, I can't share my screen, can
I? I will share it from here, I think.
The letter, yeah?
Yeah, you can share it if you want.
I think I don't have the rights from you. Let me check. Host disabled participants. Can you
I can share it. I will share it right now, the letter.
I put it in the comment box, the link as well.
Yep, here is it. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. If you could go to the second page.
Yep, here is it.
Yes. So I think, the first thing there is that we say, we call upon, the NATO member states first to take a flexible and generous approach without arbitrary exclusions. Like I said, without saying we are not going to take the people who have been working for us before, in the recognition that the targeting of current and past local staff will be indiscriminate, irrespective of the length or date of service, direct employment, or subcontracting, to say we need to be inclusive and generous. Secondly, because we only have so few days left, we must substantially increase the capacity to do it there. And if there are too many applications, we must find ways to evacuate locally employed civilians to safe locations for processing. And then we say, that you cannot say that the NATO has a value of a drawdown that is orderly, coordinated, and deliberate if you're only applying this to your own Western military, but you're not applying this to your local staff. And as you see, it's signed by 17 organizations from 7 different countries. I can explain a little bit more about the UK program. So if you stop sharing.
Yep, here is it now. Yep.
Would you mind sharing this link with people?
Yep, I can do that.
Could you click on the second link? I put it in the chat box.
Okay, yeah, UK government. Yep.
Yeah.
Let me share this one too. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah. If you could exactly accept and just go down a little bit as well. So this is it's new, right? This is only since 1st of April, 2021. So the most important thing first is if any current or former staff believe they now qualify or are at serious risk, they should email this email address, localstaff-afghanistan@mod.gov.uk. And if you go further down, go to category 2.
Yep, here is it.
So yeah, category 2. So the most easy category in a way is this one. People who will be relocated by default. Like I said, they will just check people's names, people's labor support unit number, which is the registration number for British workers, labor support unit LSU number. They will give their location of where they worked and when they worked for the British and what their role was and their reasons for leaving the job, where they terminated, did they resign, did their contract simply stop. If they check this information and they're recognized as being exposed in meaningful enabling roles, that made a material difference to the delivery of the UK mission in Afghanistan, such as patrol interpreters, cultural advisors, embassy corporate services, development, political and counterterrorism jobs. You know, if they fall in this category, then it's easiest. Normally their cases get resolved in a few weeks very quickly. If they're terminated, for instance, things become more difficult.
That's a challenging way, because a lot of people got terminated by fake report or blacklisted, their life are in danger. So
I know,
that's
yeah.
still difficult. Yep.
If you stop sharing it, I can explain a little bit more about termination.
Yep. Okay.
So
yeah, I can hear. Yep.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, we tried to get some information on how many people were terminated. We firstly only looked at, we could only get the information firstly about interpreters. The UK employed 2,850 interpreters, but out of those, 1,010, so that was 35%, got dismissed for disciplinary reasons. So that's more than 1/3 of the interpreters got dismissed for disciplinary reasons. Now, the problem is that they got dismissed for very different types of reasons. There are some people who got dismissed because of very serious offenses, stealing ammunition, sexual assault, you know, serious things. And then there are lots of people who got dismissed for misunderstandings, for returning late from leave, for carrying a PED, personal electronic device, SIM card or mobile phone. And the problem is that initially they put all of these people in one category. You're all terminated, right? Even though some people have done faithful work for the British government for years and years and years, and suddenly they were fired for like a very small reason. This week, for the first time, the government conceded that if you have been fired only for a minor offense, you will still be able to be relocated to the UK. So those people who returned late from leave, as I said, people who were maybe found with the SIM card, they have a chance to be relocated. But people who were in fights, people who were corrupt, they will try to keep them out. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to define what is a minor and what's a major offense. And as you know, the same with the United States. The problem was that when people were fired, they didn't have a right to appeal. We only have the story on record of what the Western soldier said. We don't have the story on record of what the Afghan guys said. You have the same problem in the US, don't you?
Yep. We know a lot of people who got terminated by fake report, or they got blacklisted because their name are matching with one of the watch list person. So I know the guy who worked with the Justice Department for years with the Marine Corps in Afghanistan and Helmand, just doing integrating the prisoners. He got blacklisted, and when I said why, he said, because my name was matching with the last name of one guy, and they mistakenly terminated me. And 2 times they reject his case, but up to now, they say you have to contact your CI and they should clean your name from the list, which is impossible from Afghanistan reach governments. Yeah, that's also, what do you think if someone apply, it will take 2 weeks. And during of that 2 weeks,
best case scenario takes 2 weeks. Yeah, best case.
So what about the resettlement agencies? Once they came to United States, are their tickets free? And if they couldn't reach to the embassy for the visa, how they're going to get a visa? By electronic, or they should fly to other country to get a UK visa?
I mean, they will. So the order is first they have to apply, then they have to get a relocation offer. When they get the relocation offer, they need to send digital copies of documents such as, you know, birth certificate, passport. They will get an information letter which exactly explains what documents they need to provide. And then finally, after they have provided all those documents, they get one invitation to go to the embassy, and that one time they do have to go to the embassy in person to get their biometric passports. I mean, the other thing, I don't know if you have Let me just write down. So what we normally suggest to people is that maybe you can share this at some point. Like when people apply, it's good to send a copy of your same email to info@sulaalliance.org.
Okay, I will just share it on the comment of it with it. Yep, perfect. I will share it.
Because we're trying to kind of keep a bit of a record of who has applied and what the decision has been. I think it is really, really important to say, if you've worked for the US or for France or for Germany, you should not apply to the UK program because you have no chance. They will only relocate their own workers. Because at the moment, I'm getting a lot of messages on Facebook from guys who have worked for very different nations, who have worked for the Canadians, Australians, the US, Germany. You cannot apply for the British program if you have not worked for the British. You have to have worked for the British.
Okay, so that program is just for British employees who work on the British. Thank you so much, Doctor, for the interview. Honestly, first time we meet on 2017, you were doing research. You said, oh yeah, that research will be so good. And you did good on that time. You changed a lot of things with support of your Afghan colleagues, and you mentioned their names, which you cannot mention their name because of security. So yeah, of course. What's your message for Afghan people who are hopeless right now?
You ask very difficult questions, Naveed. I mean, I think maybe the most important thing to say is that there are people who are living in Western countries who are concerned and worried about your case as well. So even though you might feel that you're alone and that the world has forgotten about you, I don't think the world has forgotten about you. There are people who are trying to get you out of your country, but we're working against very powerful governments, and we're trying to lobby our governments to make the changes that are necessary.
Thank you so much. Just we have I have to call one Afghan journalist now because he lost his baby on 2019, and he has something to share. If you have time to listen it, that we got a few minutes.
Okay, all right. I think I need to go back to work, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
The cost of this call is.
Hello? Yep, I can hear you. You're on a show, so thank you so much for giving us a chance to talk to you about what happened today and about the future of the people who work on behalf of the international community in Afghanistan. So what happened exactly today in Afghanistan?
Thank you for giving me time, and it's a pleasure that I'm talking. I'm from Kabul, from first one of the TV working here in Kabul. You know that all over Afghanistan, the violence are increasing, and different tragedies and different challenges are rising, and especially on a very specific people or a class of the people who work with different entities and with different, the international community and with their strategic partners here with the Afghan government. They are suffering a lot. Today, we were witness that one of the lady lost with her mom her life as a result of an insurgent attack, and it was targeted by the insurgent groups here in Kabul. And she lost her life with her mom, and one of her sister is totally fired and in a fight and in blaze and burn, and now she's in hospital and she's also going to lose her life.
What was her job? why she got attacked, why she lost her life, and what was his job in Afghanistan? Is she working with the government or she was working with the international community?
Thank you. She actually she was working or she worked with the media. She was a news presenter. She was a reporter and she was a journalist. And that's why she was targeted today, and she is martyred today by the insurgent groups. And that was the issue, and that was the reason. So also, we had so many examples and months before that we also, so many of our friends and reporters and journalists and those who work with the international community and with the strategic partner countries, they also were targeted. And it was casted in all of the media in Afghanistan, and it was socialized in all the media.
So the lady which got lost her life, how many years she worked in the media? Do you know her personally? Have you met her before?
Yeah, today we prepared a report about her life and about her background and about her job. She worked with the media family almost 4 years, and also she was recently graduated from the university, and she was one of her family member that she provide livelihood and food for her family. But unfortunately, she was targeted and she was assassinated and killed today. So these are a very suffering and tough tragedy.
On your point of view, because you're a journalist, you're onshore too in Afghanistan, how Afghanistan is dangerous right now for media?
The scenario is totally changed, and it's clear for everyone, for all the international community, for everyone, that in months before the violence are escalating and it's increasing, most of the journalists and reporters were targeted. Why? Because they are the voice of the people, and they are actually forecasting the realities from different provinces of Afghanistan and from different parts of the country. And they are disclosing so many issues in Afghanistan, and that's why they're targeted the journalists, the reporters, and this is the issue.
So the people or all Afghan media is funded by government or is funded by international community as a reality, if you say that?
Yeah, the case is that the media, so many media are supported by and advised by the international community, like US government and the European Union. That's why it is one of the reasons that those who work in media and those who work as a reporter and as a journalist, so the groups, the foes and the insurgent groups are always rising their sound that they are the pagans, because they have relation with the international community, with the European Union, with the US government, so that they are supported by these countries, so they have to be targeted.
We got so sad, and we are so sorry for you, and we are sending sympathies and condolences to your family. According to a few information which you said, you lost your member of family also because you were working in media and you was work with the international community on behalf of the international community. Can you give us a little bit light about it? And what happened, why you lost your member of your family, and what happened on that day? I'm so sorry to ask, because that's the reality. The world should know we are losing our member of family because of us. We work on behalf of you guys. So can you give us a little bit information about that incident? and that tragic incident.
Yeah, sure. I was also suffered a lot, and I was totally paralyzed while the scenario happened to me, and that was all because I worked with the youth advisors and with the media family. I was targeted and attacked by the 2 times. As a result, I lost my left of the liver, my newborn baby, my son, and it was a very tough tragedy for me. And I was attacked by the insurgent groups. And while I was coming to office, so I was attacked by unknown 5 gunmen right in front of my house, and they stopped me. They punched me with the AK. They hit me with the AK-47 Kalashnikov like this.
Mm-hmm.
They were 5 military. I mean, they had military clothes, and they took me out of the car, and they hit me with the corner of the AK right on my back, and they took my car, my ID, my phone, all my. While I had some other documents from my office and my car, and they took and they stopped me and stopped me and told me that you have to stop. What are you doing? And during this communication, while I had, so suddenly my wife opened the garage for myself. And she was thinking that I'm actually I have to open the door for my husband, and he has to come inside. But while she was opening the gate and she was carrying her newborn baby, suddenly the man with AK hit him with slap, and my newborn baby laid down, fall down to the land, and his head hit with with the surface, and the bleed was coming from his head. And after 2-3 hours, while the scenario finished, while we took our newborn baby to the hospital, he unfortunately he was dead, and we couldn't do anything for him. It was a tough tragedy for me, and I never forget that. And I always, for whole my life, I will raise my voice for that, because I lost my lips of the liver, and that was all the reason, because I worked with the international community, with the European Union, with the advisors government, and with the media.
Did you report this to the international community? Did you let them know what happened to you and what they did to you? What advice they give it to you?
I reported this to the media family. I even find so many emails, and I wrote this whole scenario that such type of thing happened to me. And my neighbors are aware of this on that 9 o'clock at night, that I was attacked by these 5 unknown gunmen. And I wrote all these and I sent to them. And I never, get a support from them. And they were always saying me that please leave the country and go to the second country. I told them that I don't have the possibilities, and I don't have a lot of things to. You have to support me. You have to take me out of the country with my family. But still, I'm waiting, and there is not a clear response. And I myself, and with my children, and with my wife, are suffering this scenario, and this has to be supported.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Well, we are getting so emotional whenever we see we losing our member of family, or our friends, our colleague, or they're leaving, like they are losing their member of family. What is your advice for NATO, for US government and European Commission. If they not evacuated these people from Afghanistan, what will be happen? And immediate family or language family or the people who work on behalf of them in Afghanistan, what will be happen to them if not evacuate them?
I personally, as I'm evaluating the current situation and the scenarios are happening, I say that if the people and if those guys who work on behalf of the US government, the international community, to the media, if they do not pick out of the country and if they do not support these guys, so a big tragedy are on the way. And as I talked with so many and with so a big tragedy is on the way. And daily we see that how many threats are on the way and how many tough challenges are on the way on us and on those who work on behalf of the US government, international community, European Union, NATO, and media. So again, I, as a member of those guys who work with them, but that I raise my sound that please find a way to support them, to help them, and to take them out of the country until they can live for some time with their children and with their family. It is my personal, and my whole member and whole other people who work with the community, with the NATO, and with international community.
Thank you so much. Whatever we can do, we are doing it to do public awareness and give more information to European people and American citizens what is going on in Afghanistan. And we are so sorry for your loss. And I hope that time not come again. I hope that time come to everyone should secure evacuated from Afghanistan and come to the safe place. Thank you so much for your interview. I hope we can do that, and I personally do my best to rise and do public awareness. But you know the situations, it's very hard for media to work on this case. But we do our best to do something. Thank you so much for answering the phone and sharing your experience. And we are so sorry for your loss.
Yeah, but it's also this is also great support that you did an interview with one of those who suffered. And I hope that this sound shared with the people who are there until they support this way and those guys. I'm also thanking you and all the people who are there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We will catch with you in the next shows. I hope up to next show we get some good green light from the government of European and the United States for the people who work on behalf of them. And this is their time. They should save us. They put us in this situation. They create this situation and they gave us hope. Do it for your future. This is your country. You're going to build it. You're going to build it. Now they're withdrawing. They're lefting us behind. And they are saying we cannot do anything, which is wrong. They should do something. Thank you so much for your answering the phone.
Most welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Every day we are suffering. The European American doesn't know what's going on in Afghanistan. What is happening in Afghanistan? Media family, language family, all people who work on behalf of international community and coalition forces in Afghanistan, their life are in danger. The reason which I'm doing that broadcasting show to do more public awareness. Let you guys know what is going on over there. Nobody's funding us. I'm doing it by my own self, just for humanity. If you pay respect to humanity, if you pay respect to the life, contact your Congress, contact your government people, and let them know what is going on in Afghanistan. Don't believe this. Reports are coming from the government to you guys. Oh, Afghanistan will be safe. No, there will be no safe place. If they're targeting a 9 months baby, so it's not a safe place. We should do something to secure that people, and we should do something to save that country to not from the big incidents which is happening in the future. Have a great day, and we will keep going on like that. Next week we will do interview of some more people until we reach to the point to do more evacuation, secure evacuation, and secure that people in a safe place, and bring some changes in Afghanistan and change the politician mind and idea about this peace negotiation, which is a fake peace negotiation. Have a good day.